Hello again, and welcome back to Glowed Up and Woke. I am making another video here about glowed up techniques, glowed up and woke techniques. So this is gonna be like a series that I'm gonna make where I give you all the different kinds of techniques and secrets and tools that I've used throughout the day, throughout the years, to keep me as woke as possible. Um, Now, being woke, best way to describe it is becoming one with the observer within. I'm just gonna do a recap for anybody who's not familiar. There is like what I call the sleepy self or the ego self, which is a being or a story, an autobiographical story that calls itself I and has an identity that is separate from everything else, and it walks around the world as if it's like the main character of its own movie, and everything is just kind of happening to that person, to that I, and it's like completely separated from that which goes on around it. So it's like an individual person. So that's a sleepy self. It's like basically in the matrix, completely sort of not I don't want to say deluded, but completely seduced by the Maya or the illusion of life. That's the sleepy self is a part that like basically falls into the matrix and believes it to be real, and believes that its own beliefs and attitudes and experiences and its past and all that's reality, and that physical things around it are also reality, and that's it. But then there's like this woke reality, this oneness from which both the sleepy self and the world around that self come from, right? So there's this woke observer. For every time you're having a thought or an experience, there's a part of you that's aware of those thoughts and those experiences, and you're feeling sad, and you're thinking that you are the being who's feeling sad, but that's just the sleepy self. The sleepy self is the one that's feeling sad or experiencing sadness, and then the woke observer is the part of your awareness of your mind that is aware of you being sad. And sometimes some people even talk to themselves when they're sad, or you can actually comfort yourself. You can actually create a space where you become aware of your emotional state and become your own like best friend or father figure, mother figure, and just sort of talk yourself down. Like, calm down, Mario, calm down. Like, whatever it is that's happening, it's not that bad. Like, we'll find a way. Everything will be okay. You talk to yourself. So there already you start to see there's a distinction between that very emotional part of your being, and then there's maybe a more rational adult part of your being that's like that watches over. And then beyond that, there's another layer of consciousness. So this layer of consciousness, which is aware of everything that's going on, there's another layer above that, and this goes on and on. There's infinite dreams within dreams, or observers within the observer, so that you can constantly expand your consciousness. And the more you expand your consciousness, the more free you become, the more free you are from time, from worrying about the future and regretting the past, from social norms and stresses or social influences, from basically the drama of life. Not to say that but just the drama of it, the events, the narrative, the stories of like, just you can basically become free from all of that and return to just beingness, like just be, rather than becoming something or doing something. You just are just beingness. So to understand this, it helps to realize that there is no such thing as anything separated from that which you are. That which you are is the same stuff from which everything is made. Everything in the universe is made from the same stuff of the universe, right? It's all made from the present, the love. It's consciousness wanting to know itself. So here we have a oneness, consciousness from which all comes from, undifferentiated consciousness. And it says, I want to know myself. So it creates two. It creates an observer and an observed. One who is looking and one who is being seen. And now that you're being seen, this creates like a tension between the looker and the seen. There's an attraction and a repulsion, right? So it's a magnetic thing that goes on. And that tension in there between the observer and the observed is what creates the experience of life. And so there's like a tension here, which creates a continuum of time and space, and it has patterns that come along it. And that's basically Tantra. Tantra is like knowing this continuum and understanding the patterns and understanding that between pain and pleasure, it's actually just tension. There's actually nothing between there. They actually come from the same thing. They actually come from the same consciousness that wanted to know itself. In order to know itself, it creates duality so that it can know itself in an experience, right? So if you're up here and you're looking at pleasure and pain, you can know that there's such thing as pleasure and pain. But you must come down here to the realm of duality to experience what pleasure and pain is. Because the only way you can experience pleasure is if you basically are in pain, or if there is so much tension, if there's some sort of tension that you can relieve in order to feel pleasure. For example, if I gave you a massage and you had no tension in your back, the massage would feel maybe nice, but it wouldn't feel nearly as nice as if you had a whole bunch of tension and knots in your back, and then I'm squeezing that tension out, and that's creating pleasure, right? So in order for the consciousness to experience pleasure, it has to divide itself into two polar opposites so that it can experience pain and then pleasure, pain and then pleasure. And then Tantra is realizing that this pain and pleasure are one, and that I can experience pleasure within the pain and pain within the pleasure. And therefore, I am not so attached to either one. I am not so like, I have to have things this particular way. And if things don't go my way, then I suffer. The reason I don't suffer, because either way, I understand that whether it's light or dark, it's just the yin yang. It's the same stuff of the universe. And I also understand that I am neither light or dark. I am the observer from which light and dark came. And the experience, all the experiences in between, everything in here is coming from the same oneness, I-ness, the true I, the one from which all comes from, right? The Om, the first vibration from which all the other vibrations come from. It's just simply the consciousness, which is creative and has a will, exercising both creativity and will in order to know itself and create a relationship, a realm where it can be in relationship with itself in order to give and receive. Again, when you're oneness, you can't give and receive. There's only oneness. But consciousness wants to be in relationship. So it creates these two. And then here you have the Trinity. You can call it the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You can call it Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. You can call it consciousness, mind, and body, mind, and soul. But the Trinity is what creates the realm of experience, the realm of duality. It's the one which becomes two. This realization, this woke observer, awakened perspective is the number one tool to sustaining a wakefulness. When you see another, you realize that it's an extension of yourself. If you see someone doing something so horrible that you can't even forgive it, that's like really triggering you, you may ask yourself, how much pain or ignorance would I have to be in to do the same thing? Because we basically would. Like, the bottom line is that we're all made from the same thing, and the only thing different is the forms and the shapes and the structures. So forms and shapes and structures include physical forms, but also cultural forms, mental forms, belief systems, emotional patterns that we either inherit or learn from our environment. And that's the difference. It's not, there's the soul, it's the substance that creates life. It's not different from person to person. It's the same oneness. It's the true beingness that you are, which is infinite. It's loving. It's creative. It has these qualities that you feel in nature, or that you feel when you're in a state of communal, family, relaxed, sort of feeling like you belong and you're all there under God's roof, or under whatever your concept for the divine, when you have that feeling of, I am one with this divine, I have the love and acceptance of this divine, and I realize there's a oneness that connects me, unites me with everything around me. This perspective creates a woke experience. Now, I'm going to be teaching a lot of actual practices, but just repeating and re-emphasizing this principle is probably one of the most powerful tools to sustaining the woke perspective and to feeling glowed up. Another thing is the breath. So the breath and this perspective are two of the tools that actually go on throughout the day. All day, one is constantly training oneself to adopt the appropriate perspective, or to free oneself from the habitual, conditioned, false perspectives of separation, and to constantly be returned to the true perspective of oneness, of non-duality, which is our true nature, which is the nature of reality, which is what quantum physics is proving, shared systems theory, or morphogenetic fields theory, unified field theory. There's so many theories, right? But so that perspective, and keeping a conscious breath, breathing deep into the diaphragm. The body is like a glove for the mind, or mind soul, and the breath is what pulls that in. It's what allows the mind to more articulately flow through the body and unite with the body, and sort of merge and give the body all that it needs. And that bidirectional relationship between the mind and the body is what supports and extends the woke experience, the awakened, glowed up, blissful richness in life that, you feel this vibrant, euphoric sort of lucidity, which is a lot like a psychedelic experience, or a sort of like paradise. I don't want to sound as if it's not a fantasy. You will still meet challenges in life, but the beauty and the richness and the vibrancy and the ultimately present loving connection, acknowledging and recognizing unity and oneness and togetherness, approval, all that, and the freedom and the sense of relaxation that comes from realizing that everything that is always has been and always will be, and therefore nothing real can be threatened. Nothing real can ever disappear, cease to exist. All the true love and all the true joy and all the true approval that you've ever experienced is infinite. It's indestructible. It's the stuff of the universe. It's that which you are. It's that which you are made of. It is that which connects you to God. It's the link that connects everything to the one source, the undifferentiated, unmanifested source from which all came. Well, I hope this was very helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please feel free to share. If you found any value in this, share with your friends, tell your friends about it, comment, like. All of that stuff is very appreciated. I send you much love and blessings. Namaste. Be well.